are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easily pretty. The only reason that I can go tonight is 'cause I know you are invited. The only reason that this dresses can die.
Hi, this is Jessica Javens Talk, a podcast that helps you transform your life from inside out into a life you truly love. Welcome to season 1. And today we have an amazing guest. And this person is going to help us understand the transformation that she has helped many women and young women to be able to come out of a very difficult situation, low self esteem, low self image, even as far as serious addiction, into a complete transformation. So please welcome Emeh. Please tell us a little bit about you and where you're coming from.
Thank you, Jessica, for having me on. Like you said, my name is Emeh, and I am a body image confidence speaker and coach, powerful about empowering women and young girls to embrace their body and break the generational cycle of hating their body. Why is that important? Because 9 out of 10 women have expressed some form of body dissatisfaction, and those metrics look just as bad for our younger girls. For girls between the age of 12 to 17, it's about 78%. And then for girls between the age of about 6 to 11, it's about 54%. So if you're like me, it's a problem. And so that's why I do what I do.
Oh my goodness, you said some strong things there, and I'm so happy that you're here today and that people are going to get to know a little bit more about this work and how important this is for girls and for women. I would love for you to share a little bit about what we talked before, which is a strategy that you actually use for both groups of young women with the information that you just share, as well as women who are going through bigger struggles later in life, such as addiction. Tell me the method that you came to create that's been so effective.
So with when I'm working with clients, especially for I work with, like I said, I work with women and young girls. So with women, most of the women that come to me, they come to me with a lot of self-doubt, a lot of negative talk, and most of which is what they've heard growing up, either passed down from generations to generations. It's the way that they have seen their own mothers and other female figures in their life model how they perceive their bodies, and then they learn that behavior, unfortunately, the negative aspect of it, combined with what society says about us women and how we should see ourselves and how we are objectified. So by the time a woman comes to me, she's on average broken. She's shy of looking of she finds it hard to look at her own image in the mirror. And with that comes a lot of insecurities that start to um, seep into different aspects of her life. And as a result, she's holding herself back from her full potential. And so, what I start to do is help them unpack, first of all, where are those negative perceptions coming from? And how does that impact their day-to-day life? And then how can we begin to change the narrative from a negative to a positive so that we can start to build their confidence to pursue what God has planned for them? So that's the strategy for the older women. Now, why I like to work with the young girls is because with the older women, I'm looking at them in retrospect. So they are dealing with their past. And what my passion is breaking the generational cycle. So I like to work with the girls because I don't want them to become their mothers, to have that issue that their mothers and I and all the other grown women are dealing with. So with the young girls, my strategy is quite different. It's about building confidence in them. It's about making sure that they do not fall into the traps that their parents, their moms have fallen into. It's about giving them practical hands-on tools. Like, okay, when you look at yourself in the mirror, I want you to think of positive affirmations. Appreciate that your hair is different, but it's beautiful, and that's what makes you unique. Appreciate the fact that your beauty shouldn't just be defined by your physical appearance, but there's so much more to you than your physical appearance. They are your abilities, your capabilities, and how good you are in sports. That's part of the challenge that we as women have had. We're constantly being defined by only our physical appearance. But what I'm trying to do is have people recognize that beauty comes in multiple dimensions. But we are being forced to define beauty in one dimension, in physical appearance, and that's just not right.
That's amazing. Absolutely, that is not okay. That is not right. So it's important that people have the right person, the right sources, so they can connect and get that help, so they can come around that much faster than if they were just trying to live that journey on their own and trying to figure out on their own. So people like you that can help. So tell me a little bit more and share with our listeners where did you come from in your career, and how you came and transformed into what you're doing today and the impact that you're doing today.
That's a great question. I spent almost 20 years working in corporate America for Fortune 500 companies. I worked in finance and operations, sat on the leadership team for some big pharmaceutical companies. And although I loved it in terms of some of the work that I did and just being able to impact people's lives because of the medications that we made or how we were able to distribute it. So that it was fulfilling in those regards. But what I didn't like was kind of how I was treated the higher I went. So what I noticed was that the higher I went up the ladder, the corporate ladder, the less I saw of people that looked like me. And I'm not talking just about race, I'm talking about body size. I could almost define what corporate America considered to be the appropriate C-suite woman, a size 4, tall, blonde hair, blue-eyed lady. And anybody that wasn't a size 4 and looked like that, we were very low on the totem pole. I am more of a size 14, and that oftentimes was not very well accepted. And over time, of course, they wouldn't tell you directly, but you start to see yourself being excluded from groups. And it didn't matter that I had an MBA and I had graduated top 10 of my business school. It didn't matter that I had worked for Fortune 500 companies. It didn't matter that I understood I understood the business side of my work. It just seemed like all they cared about was the physical appearance. And that's the mindset that I want to move people away from. Stop focusing on women's own physical appearance as the only criteria for success. Look at us as a total being, how smart we are, how well we engage, how capable our abilities, and a whole bunch. So that's how I started doing what I'm doing. During the pandemic, when everybody was home, I took the time to reflect. Okay, well, how can I give back to the world? Because, like most people, we saw a lot of people lose their lives during the pandemic, which was really tragic. And I wanted to make sure that coming out of it, I wanted to give back and in a way that I could leave a legacy that will make life better for specifically women and young girls. And so I did a lot of intro work. And what I discovered is that when you're searching for your purpose in life, usually your purpose has something to do with what has been a constant theme in your life. And for me, my physical appearance was a constant topic of discussion. From the moment I was born, almost 10 pounds, and being told I was the baby that almost killed my mom, to getting into corporate and being, you know, unnecessarily, how do I put it, teased for either how I wore my hair or how voluptuous I was. And so I knew that God was calling me to something that had to do with my physical appearance. But being able to turn that into something that would bring Him glory and serve women, I was able to now I somehow stumbled on body image confidence. And I just love the idea of empowering women and young girls.
Such a beautiful work, and I'm happy that you had the opportunity to change that. And when you and I met, I told you that I related a little bit with that because I also did worked in corporate for many, many years, and
Right?
going up the ladder, I had a similar experience with you. So I'm sure that there's a lot of women watching this right now who can relate to this. So your work, it comes even more important now because there's just so many different types of issues that women face in different stages of their life, and that probably they're not prepared. Like I
Mhm.
remember maybe being called that I was overweight when I was in elementary school, and I
Mhm.
always thought like, okay, this is stuff kids do. But you don't realize now that even as an executive in a corporation, you're still being judged that way. And
Yes,
so there's no such preparation. The only preparation that I had growing up is like, you need to lose weight, or you need to, you know what I'm saying? So that
exactly.
pressure,
Mhm.
and you think that's the only alternative. So
Mhm.
share a little bit with me about a couple of things that you can do. You said something about looking in the mirror and changing the mindset. Tell me a little
Mhm.
bit more about different things that you have been successful with, and then later I want you to tell one of your. You have many beautiful stories, but choose the first one.
Um, so in working with people, when it comes to body image, a lot of what we tell ourselves starts with um, our mindset. So let me backtrack and define body image. So body image is the perception a person has about their physical appearance and the thoughts and emotions that ensue as a result of that perception. So if you have a positive perception about yourself, you automatically have what they call a positive body image. If you have a negative perception about yourself, where you're constantly criticizing everything, any and everything from your hair to your toes, then you're considered to have a negative body image. So for most people, when people come to me, I start with understanding where their mindset is. Okay, what do you tell yourself on a daily basis? And when and where do you feel like you first heard that negative comment? Most women can pinpoint that first negative experience they had about their physical appearance. It was either what somebody said to them growing up or what they experienced as an adult, maybe in the corporate, maybe playing sports, maybe, in a relationship. But usually we can pinpoint that one experience that was the trigger that started the whole body image um, issue. And then from there, we start to work and unpack that and unlearn those behaviors that have come with that trigger, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. It's kind of like rewiring those paradigms or beliefs or
Exactly.
patterns because it becomes a pattern, right? You just get used to it and you just think that that's what it is and you keep doing it. And many times you don't even realize it, right?
Mhm.
What is one of the most common things that maybe you find that women might relate to, the ones that are listening to us today, that they might feel that they can relate and something that you want to leave them with? Um, Based on the most common things that you hear from your clients.
I mean, most women, when they come to me, like I said, they come to me broken. And what resonates is most of them have been silenced in one way or the other.
Mm.
They've been silenced because Society has said that our opinions don't matter, they don't carry weight. And because we're considered almost second class citizens, we learn to take on a lot more than we need to. And we feel like we have to
Mm-hmm.
because when we speak up, no one listens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just her. Oh, she's just talking. She doesn't need to, or we always get those jobs that our male counterparts don't really want or don't know how to do. But when we do it and we do it well. It doesn't mean I don't like men. I'm just stating facts here,
Right.
some degree. And so, but yeah, by the time the women come to me, they're so broken that they can't speak up for themselves. They can't even ask for the simplest things. Just being
Mm.
able to ask for what they need has become so silenced. And that's one thing that really hits home for me. So I try to teach them first how to ask for what they need with the simplest tasks. Why do I take that approach? Because being able to ask for the simplest things, like, I'm going to take a walk and I'm going to take a walk by myself without the kids, without the dog, without the hubby. I need 30 minutes for just my own sanity. And being able to give them, them being able to ask for that and get it, they will get a win. And it's with the small wins that we start to build back
Mm.
our confidence to be able to ask for the bigger things,
I love
like
that.
asking for a promotion for a job that you know you're well qualified. A lot of us women don't ask for promotions. We put in all the work in the hopes that somebody will see us and reward us. But rarely do we actually put our name forward and demand that or insist that we be promoted to that position.
That is so true. That is
Yeah.
so true. You said some very important things there. How can gratitude help as well as one of those steps that you mentioned? Those one step after another that will take you to the biggest one. How does gratitude play a place in this?
Oh, that's a very great question. So what I like about gratitude is because when you're operating from a place of gratitude, you're operating from a place of abundance. And by default, that abundance mindset is a trait of confidence. It's a confidence trait. So, one of my other tactics is teaching people to be grateful for the little things, you know, because when you're grateful, you're automatically closing any opportunity for the negative mindset or negative thoughts to come in because you're already operating in that positive abundance mindset. So, for instance, recently I went back home. I'm from Nigeria. I went home to Nigeria for Christmas and we were there for a little while. And Nigeria, I love home, but not everything functions the way it does in America. And I remember an older sister of mine trying to prepare me. I mean, I hadn't gone in the last, what, 3, 4 years, but she just felt it, took it upon herself to remind me when I go home, don't complain about anything, just go with the flow, be grateful for everything, try and find the good in everything. And I'll be honest with you, when I saw her text, I was a little offended. I'm like, I consider myself a positive minded person. Why would she say that? But you know what? It was her way of preparing me to be in the right frame of mind to so I don't lose sight of all the good that there was about taking my kids home. When you're in that negative mindset, it's very easy to miss all the other gifts that are around you. So it was the first time we were taking our kids home where they would remember. They've been home, but they were younger. But this was the first time that they would actually remember. And going with that mindset of not complaining and being grateful, it allowed me to find the gifts in little things like watching. my daughter learning how to cook Nigerian food with her cousins,
Oh, that's
as opposed
amazing.
to me complaining, it's so hot, too many flies, and you can't be in the kitchen. No, I just lived in the moment. It was about me watching my little son playing soccer with all the boys in the community, and they were all enamored by him because he looks a little different than them. And if I lost sight of that opportunity by complaining, oh, you don't have your shoes on, you can't be playing barefoot. Well, he was playing barefoot because all the boys didn't have shoes, so he decided to fit in and play barefoot. But to me, I was like, he's immersed himself in the culture. For a child who didn't grow up here, he immersed himself in the culture seamlessly. That was the gratitude in that. I could easily have focused on the negative, being he has no shoes on, he's going to get sick, he could get bit by this, but no, just keeping in mind, don't focus on the negative. Be grateful for every opportunity. It allowed me to find the good in every single experience where I don't know about your family, but my family, in our family, when mommy is happy, everybody is happy. So it allowed me to stay positive, which gave everyone a very positive experience. So my kids came back saying they wanted to go home. They didn't actually want to come back to America. They had
Wow.
such a good time and they're looking forward to going back again this summer. So
The power of
yeah,
gratitude. We take it for
the
granted. We
power.
probably don't even realize it. And it's like
Yes,
the perfect recipe because you said once you do this, you're actually opening doors for the positive and for the everything, the blessings and everything. When you're negative, that's taken. Then you don't have the ability and the energy for you to focus on the positive and see those blessings or even opportunities. They're shut down because you're
yes.
somewhere else.
Mhm.
It's amazing. You told me a story about one of your clients that it really touched me, and I don't remember her name, but I would love for you to share the story about how and where she came from and where she was at that point and where she's at today in her life because of this opportunity.
Hmm. I don't remember which specific client, but I'll tell you the latest one. So, um, since the, it's going to get a little political, but I'll just be honest. So, since the beginning of the year, a lot of people have lost their jobs. And one of my clients reached out to me because her family was impacted by the Doge layoffs. So, both parents out of a job, young family. She was broken. She came to me in tears. And this is somebody with a well advanced degree. She's a doctor. But but them working for a government organization, sorry, excuse me, they were penalized. Excuse me, for her job was eliminated. And sorry, excuse me, sorry about that. Her job was eliminated as well as her husband. And so when she came to me, she was really broken. And I knew that going straight into, okay, so where does your body image start and where are you feeling the negative self-talk? That wasn't the approach I took. Because you have to really assess, and I like to meet people where they are in that moment. Because what I do is very sensitive and it's easy for people to spiral if I don't approach it properly. And one thing I knew about her was that she was a woman of faith. And so that helped. And so the first thing I did was to offer her prayer. Why did I offer her prayer? Because I knew that for her hope was anchored in her faith. There wasn't any amount of confidence coaching I was going to do that would help her. At that moment, what she needed was a sense of hope. And I knew that her hope was anchored in her faith. And so we started with prayer. It started with me checking in on her, making sure that even though the rest of the world may have forgotten about her and her family, I didn't. So proactively checking in on her. Are you okay? Have the kids been fed? Do you have enough? Praying through her, praying with her through it. She got an interview in February, and just this week, I got a text message from her. I got the job. Now, there are a lot of people looking for jobs, but she got one.
Wow.
That was amazing. So, not only did she gain back her confidence to go back out to look for a job, even though a lot of people are looking, she must have killed her interviews for her to have been selected as the one.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. That is incredible. Because of some tools, sometimes you were able to enable her to be in a different level, in a different place than
Yes.
if she hadn't done that work. That's excellent. So, what would you like to leave our listeners with? If you had to leave them with something powerful right now, after they finish watching you and learning from you, what is one thing that you would like to leave for these women, young and mature women, that can empower them today?
That's a great question. And what I'm going to say is based on a book that I'm reading. And I'm reading The Aladdin Factor, which talks about a lot about asking for what you want. Now, I know how to ask for what I want, but I want to be able to teach it in a way that my clients understand it and it becomes second nature.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I'm going to leave you all with is to know that confidence isn't born in silence. You have to speak up in order to get what you want, in order to begin rebuilding confidence. So remember, confidence isn't born in silence.
Thank
You
you.
have to speak up.
Thank you. That is good for all of us. I
Yes.
really, really appreciate you saying that. That's excellent.
Thank you.
Um, we have people who want to get in contact with you, people who want to work with you and learn about you and the things that you're about to launch there, the things that you're working on. That's very exciting. So, how can they contact you? Where can they find you online, or can you share that with us?
Absolutely. You can find me on my website, emeh.com. So my first and last name. I live on LinkedIn, as you know. I love to write and post on LinkedIn. That's another place where you can engage with me live. I'm on there every day, except weekends, but Monday through Friday. And then also on Instagram, but not as active on Instagram. So yeah, those are places to find me. I love to offer your audience a free session with me to just catch up, and I'll give you links to that. But I love to take time to get to know these women, because what I'm discovering is a lot of us don't know what body image is. And so I spend those 30 minutes explaining it to them. You just know that you're not comfortable in your own skin, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't know why. So I like to spend those 30 minutes just educating.
Thank you. That's a
So,
wonderful thing.
yes.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
So we're going to be sharing the link below, so check that out for you guys to
Yes.
get more from Emeh. And I would like to invite you to click the like button on this episode, to follow me and subscribe. And I also would like to let you all know that this is being brought by Forever Living, which is the best aloe vera juice in the world that has transformed my wellness. And
Oh,
our this show is produced by I Am Beast Network. This is Jessica Javens Talk, and I am Jessica Javens.
Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easily pretty. The only reason that I can go tonight is cause I know you were invited. The only reason that this dress is skin tight is cause I thought that you would like it. I'm only gone for the sacred outside. Because I want you to like that. The only reason I came through tonight is because I